Today we're getting into the latest Tesla news, including the huge caveat with a Cybertruck purchase, Tesla partnering with more oil companies, the latest Cybertruck sightings, and more, so let's get into it. First up today, the Tesla Model Y is a pretty remarkable vehicle, both in its design but also in its ability to earn awards and recognition. This time, the Tesla Model Y has been named the best company car of 2024 by Parker's. Quote, the all-electric SUV was praised for its combination of efficiency, dynamics, and long range, coupled with access to the supercharger network and attractive taxation for company car drivers. For EVs, it beats the BMW i4 and BG4 EV this year. Another aspect that helped the Model Y is its variety of options, which is relatively new when looking at the US. Quote, with a choice of 3 powertrains, there's a Model Y to suit a variety of needs and budgets. Another big aspect here is that the Model Y is actually available at scale with, quote, short lead times. As for the methodology here, quote, the Parker's New Car Awards 2024 reflects the constantly evolving views of Britain's car buying public, with winners decided by a combination of the site's expert reviewers' verdicts in thousands of miles of road testing and the purchasing habits of the website's 2.3 million users actively involved in the buying process. Similarly, on the fleet side of things, S&P Global Mobility has analyzed sales data for US fleet companies from July of 2022 to July of 2023. In it, they found that Tesla was a top choice among fleets. Quote, the brand accounts for almost a third of all electric vehicle purchases over the past 13 months. This is possible because Tesla produces electric vehicles in volumes unmatched by any other OEM. The Model 3 is actually the top EV sold to fleets, which makes a lot of sense for the rear-wheel drive model in particular. There were 28,252 sold, but the Model Y holds third place with 11,149 sales. Now that Tesla has introduced a rear-wheel drive standard range Model Y starting at $43,990 in the US, I imagine we could see these numbers change this coming year, with the Model Y taking second or even first place. It's a very useful fleet car. Next up today, some big news for the Cybertruck. We'll get into the latest sightings and more in a minute, but Tesla's purchase agreement for the Cybertruck has been released, and it has one particularly important clause. For some, it could cause them to skip Cybertruck delivery, at least for a while. Whenever a new exciting vehicle launches, there is a flurry of demand for it. As such, this leads to early adopters who got in early on their order and delivery to flip their cars for profit. We see this all the time with vehicles like the Hummer EV going for insane prices at launch, but it always happens with Teslas too. Any new car is going to take time to scale, but a new vehicle from Tesla is usually a very new product. It's exciting to the whole market, and people can't wait to get their hands on it. In 2017, a used Model 3 was listed for $150,000, so we can only imagine what a used Cybertruck may go for early on. The Cybertruck is one of the most anticipated vehicles ever, and its intense polarization has only led to an increase in interest for it. For some, this means that in the first months of its release, they will pay whatever they can to get their hands on this truck. As such, plenty of people got in early with multiple Cybertruck orders and plan to flip them for a profit. The Peterson Museum just auctioned an early Cybertruck VIN for $400,000, so this seems like it could be a great opportunity. Here's the thing though, if this is your plan, you better skip that Cybertruck order or you'll get sued. Tesla is ready to stop anyone from selling a Cybertruck within its first year, and if you need to sell it, they have say over how that is handled. Quote, for Cybertruck only, you understand and acknowledge that the Cybertruck will first be released in limited quantity. You agree that you will not sell or otherwise attempt to sell the vehicle within the first year following your vehicle's delivery date. Notwithstanding the foregoing, if you must sell the vehicle within the first year following its delivery date for any unforeseen reason, and Tesla agrees that your reason warrants an exception to its no reseller policy, you agree to notify Tesla in writing and give Tesla reasonable time to purchase the vehicle from you at its sole discretion and at the purchase price listed on your final price sheet, less 25 cents per mile driven, reasonable wear and tear, and the cost to repair the vehicle to Tesla's used vehicle cosmetics and mechanical standards. If Tesla declines there, you can resell to a third party after receiving written consent from Tesla. If you breach this, Tesla can sue you for $50,000 or more and may not sell you any vehicle in the future. This is added to their motor vehicle purchase agreement, which you must sign in order to take delivery of a Tesla. In the past, this section for no resellers has only really applied to dealers, preventing them from ordering en masse to resell, but now it applies to any individual Cybertruck buyer. Essentially, if you are buying an early VIN Cybertruck, you better plan to keep this truck. There's no way for you to resell this car, and Tesla will sue you if you do attempt to do so, rendering any profits gone. With that said, this part of the contract is designed specifically to prevent a flip. If you genuinely come upon a situation where you need to get rid of this car, there are exceptions. You can notify Tesla, and as long as they approve, you can sell the Cybertruck back to them for resale. The thing is, Tesla usually doesn't give the best trade-in prices, so they could lowball you on a buyback or not accept your reasoning in the first place. Hopefully, neither of those would happen, but they are possible. While this seems like Tesla is mainly focused on owners not taking advantage of an early delivery, they could also be ensuring that other automakers don't buy them to reverse engineer. This is a common practice, and automakers have money to pay up for a Cybertruck resale, but this is something that can be somewhat delayed by Tesla preventing a resale. The Cybertruck will have a ton of new Tesla technology and engineering, along with new manufacturing techniques that others would surely love to copy. At the end of the day as well, they may have to copy them in order to survive into the future, but competition exists, and Tesla can keep their secrets secret for a while longer. Another aspect, as pointed out by Electric, is the overall perception of a release. Quote, "It does make for a more chaotic release, with buyers scrambling to try to get an early car and scalp it for profits, and low-VIN cars that traditionally have more problems ending up in the hands of people who paid way too much and who don't have a pre-existing relationship with the company." With the Model 3, they somewhat controlled its popular release by first releasing to employees, but the Cybertruck is an entirely different animal. This is an interesting thing though, and brings out different opinions amongst car buyers. This is somewhat common practice amongst low-volume releases from other companies, but the Cybertruck shouldn't actually be low volume for long. They acknowledge that by saying Cybertruck will first be released in limited quantity. Then from there, they expect to be making 125,000 plus of them each year. At that point, maybe this clause will be lifted. Another aspect here is that underneath the Cybertruck specific paragraph, Tesla may do anything to protect their interest in the vehicle, including, quote, "locate and disable the vehicle electronically using our remote dynamic vehicle connection described in our privacy policy." This is a normal piece of Tesla's agreement, but comes a bit more into view when involving selling the Cybertruck within your first year of ownership. If they enforced that, it would have a lot of implications. Some feel that it is completely justified and ensures that the launch of a new exciting Tesla vehicle isn't abused. It also ensures that customers truly waiting to buy this car are able to get it faster. If tons of scalpers are taking delivery with a simple intent to flip, it will make it even harder for Tesla to make enough to go to actual buyers. This makes a lot of sense, but others simply don't want to be told what to do. It does feel a bit odd to purchase something and continue to be told what you are allowed to do with it for its first year in your hands. But what are your thoughts? Do you support this clause from Tesla? Leave a comment below to let me know. Next up today, Tesla is continuing their trend of partnering with big oil. At first glance, this comes as a really big surprise, but long term, it makes a lot of sense. 3 weeks ago, BP announced that they made an order of $100 million worth of Tesla ultra-fast chargers. As far as we can tell, these are Tesla V4 chargers that will be purchased and operated by BP Pulse. BP is expanding further into the charging business, and they need reliable equipment to do so. Quote, "As early as 2024, Tesla chargers will be installed across the BP Pulse network, including at key BP, Amoco, AMPM, and Thornton's branded sites, Travel Centers of America locations, and at BP Pulse's large-scale GigaHub charging sites near airports and in major metropolitan areas across the US. Overall, this is great news because it will mean the expansion of even more reliable fast chargers, and Tesla has strict maintenance and uptime requirements that BP plans to meet. That was exciting and a big sign of the future, but now this week it has been announced that another oil giant is partnering with Tesla. EG Group, a huge gas station operator, is buying supercharger hardware from Tesla to be deployed as an EG branded product. They said, quote, "EG Group is pleased to announce that it has agreed to a deal to acquire Tesla's latest ultra-fast charging units for EG's rapidly growing EV Point business across the UK and Europe. Just like BP, these will be Tesla's tech, but branded as EV Point. All drivers will be able to access these chargers regardless of brand. They will support plug and play, and they plan to roll out first chargers before the end of the year." Here, though, we don't know how big of a deal this is. Rebecca Tanucci, Tesla's Senior Director of Charging Infrastructure, said, "The rapid installation of reliable, easy-to-use EV charging infrastructure is the right step towards a sustainable future and a key area of focus for us at Tesla. For this reason, we're excited to make our fast charging hardware available for purchase to EG Group and other leaders in the space. There they particularly mention other leaders in the space, so this is just the second of what could be many deals in the future, and this is another one of those areas that Tesla could completely disrupt. Tesla charger installs are known to be about 1/5 the cost of those installed by other companies, and now that they are offering their own infrastructure for sale, it could become the only option. Not only is it cheaper, but it's far more reliable. Additionally, as more and more electric cars hit the market, more chargers are needed, and this business could finally take off in reliable ways, but from oil companies no less. They do have experience with operating fueling stations, and now they will have charging equipment that works. Assuming these are V4 chargers as well, they should provide 350 kilowatt charging speeds in the future. Tesla's mission is to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy, and nothing quite does that like reliable charging infrastructure. I'm excited to see this expansion from EG Group and BP, and see a charging station I'm actually confident in from a brand other than Tesla. Next up today, the latest Cybertruck updates. There have been a lot of sightings of this truck doing off-road testing, but now we've caught it actually climbing stairs. In this video, taken at the Hollister Hills State Vehicle Recreation Area in California, it's showing off its incredibly high ground clearance. This slope is quite steep and very impressive to see climbed. Some have noted that this slope is meant to be taken with some momentum and have criticized the driver for climbing it slowly, but it could be that they are doing this on purpose. Stopping in the middle of this slope here gives us a great demonstration of the truck's traction control. You can hear the tires squeal as it starts to roll back, but it does make it all the way up this slope. So I think this is about how hard you could possibly push this truck. Here's an example of the Rivian R1T taking on the same challenge and making it look easy. Now, a lot of people have been worried about the build quality of that Cybertruck model that was brought to the Malibu Coffee meetup, but that seems to be an isolated case. We're seeing new models showing up every day that don't seem to have the same issues, like this one at Ron Barron's annual conference in New York City. Jordy Core posted a long video of this truck, and these lines look pretty clean to me. From this video, I don't see any obvious issues with this truck, so hopefully this is indicative of what we will see delivered to customers. As for production, the number of Cybertrucks appearing in the outbound lot at Giga Texas appears to be growing, and 10 of them were spotted together most recently. 4 were spotted in other parts of the factory, along with 6 Cybertruck bodies in the recycle yard and over 100 Cybertruck front castings. These haven't just been thrown out though. They look like they've been placed out there for storage and will be used for future Cybertrucks. We also got a super close look at the Cybertruck's four-wheel steering at Electrify Expo's Industry Day in Austin. Here you can see the front and back wheels very clearly turning together. Some have pointed out that this looks like a steer-by-wire system because the driver's hands only appear to travel about 120 degrees while the tires are turning about as far as they can go. Also in this video, they roll up the powered tonneau cover while driving. It rolls up super smoothly, but there's too much background noise to tell if it's very silent. It doesn't look like it's having any trouble rolling up though. Some official footage of the Cybertruck has been released as well by SpaceX. In a promo video for Starship, they show the Cybertruck hauling rocket engines. We don't know for sure how much weight this is hauling in total here, but it's cool to see SpaceX using clean vehicles to do the heavy lifting for this project. A Cybertruck was spotted for the first time in Boston, still with California plates. That makes it seem like it's just advertising by driving coast to coast, or it could be an employee doing a road trip with their car. Another first that was spotted is this parking ticket on a truck parked in the passenger loading zone outside of a movie theater in Los Gatos, California. It's a funny thing to imagine the officer having to lift up the Cybertruck's massive wiper to place this ticket underneath. This poster also got a lot of close-ups on the truck's detailing, and we do see some issues. There are panel gaps, misalignment issues, and some overlapping steel parts. Getting ready for the season, the Cybertruck was separately spotted hauling a Christmas tree down the freeway. That's definitely a first and indicates that Tesla is very likely having employees simply use these trucks for normal tasks as they're testing. Next up today, we're seeing a lot of Tesla's next generation superchargers popping up all around the world. Their V4 supercharging network is expanding, and a few have been spotted in the US now. This one in Columbia, South Carolina has 12 V4 stalls. This station with 16 V4 stalls just opened in East Point, Georgia, and another one in Prattville, Alabama opened with 12 V4 stalls last week. Over in Germany, Tesla has opened up the V4 charger at their Berlin factory to visitors. A closer look at these stalls reveals a backlit screen, definitely for alternative forms of payment. That, as well as Tesla themselves, has confirmed that this charger is open to all EVs. They posted a short video on X of a Quicksilver Model Y, only made at that factory, plugging in at this charger, which has a solar roof over it. We're expecting a lot of these V4 chargers to open up to all EVs, especially in the US, where just about every major automaker has adopted NACS. By 2025, most EVs in the US will be able to access Tesla's supercharger network, and they'll need stations that can accommodate them with longer cables. These V4 chargers have longer cables that will be able to reach much further than their V3 chargers, and will therefore be able to reach different charge ports. Their V3 chargers are pretty much only designed for the Model S, 3, X, and Y. In addition to longer cables, these V4 chargers are important because they'll be capable of faster charging speeds, and some will have built-in CCS Magic Dock adapters for EVs that aren't yet equipped with NACS. They'll also be compatible with other EVs' integrated payment systems, so every EV owner can have the same effortless charging experience that Teslas have. Most EVs in the future will be able to just pull into a supercharger, plug in, and walk away the same as Tesla owners do now. At the same time, Tesla is still expanding their V3 chargers, which was the standard before they introduced V4. This one just opened in Lawrenceville, Georgia, with 16 new V3 stalls. These have a slightly different layout that may help the shorter cable reach charging ports that are further away. Then this one opened in Jackson, Missouri, with 12 new V3 stalls. Even if these shorter cables are difficult for other EVs to use, it's important for Tesla to continue expanding their supercharger network any way they can. Even if only Teslas use these chargers, that'll mean less Tesla traffic at their V3 chargers. Traffic is going to increase somewhat as more EVs are able to access this network, but Tesla is working every day to accommodate that increased demand. They already have over 50,000 stalls globally, with over 6,000 stations and 17,000 stalls in the US alone. Over the next year, we're only going to see those numbers increasing. That's all the latest Tesla news for today, so in the meantime, if you want to see why you may want to wait until 2024 to buy a Tesla, regardless of Tesla's end-of-year incentives, you can check out that video linked up here or in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.